Nexus, I want to show off the very, interesting way that the developers decided to explain other mechanics in the early game. Beneath this large archway lies a cornucopia of red messages that all describe specific mechanics and general tips that are all pretty helpful to know. It probably isn't the best placement for them, but I can't really think of a better place given the short length of the tutorial. One may argue that they could be placed throughout the first level, which we're going to begin once we explore here a bit more, but at the same time the developers probably wanted to establish the solitary, lonesome feeling that this game expresses so well as soon as possible. Who knows? And now it's time to meet the crestfallen warrior.
Well, you slipped through the fissure too, did you? You came for demon souls? Or to save this land and be remembered as a hero? Hunting for demons? Try one of the archstones. Now go. That is why you came, is it not? To this accursed Boletaria? You came for demon souls? Or to save this land and be remembered as a hero? It's all the same. You're just another prisoner of the Nexus. We're welcome here, as long as we keep slashing up demons.
He's a bit of a staple in the series, or rather, not he himself, but an NPC that can be very adequately described as crestfallen. He also offers up a great first take on the trademark sketchy laughter of Souls NPCs.
Do you hear from my services? My name's Baldwin, just an ordinary blacksmith. It's simple. Just bring me all the souls you can. In trade, I'll give you weapons, or forge ones you already have. With your souls, I can eke out a living, and with my weapons, you can go on living. Not a bad deal, huh?
Blacksmith Baldwin doesn't sell anything that we absolutely require at the moment, just healing and repair items. There are a few weapons and a good shield, but we'll be finding most of our equipment from our exploration of the world.
Perhaps you've already heard, but there's another blacksmith at the entrance of Stonefang Mine. He's an eccentric old man, but he knows his trade well. He's the only sane one left in a town of soul-starved men. If you do meet him, yeah, well, forget it. That stubborn old ne'er-do-well will just ignore you. There aren't enough blacksmiths in this temple to handle all the work. Only certain ores can be used to forge weapons, but you'll just have to make do. And be thankful that I'm still of good health. And be thankful. No interest, eh? I can tell you're not gonna last long here.
Now it's time to talk to this fellow who looks quite indebted.
I'm Stockpile Thomas. When the scourge came, I didn't know what hit me. When I came to, I found myself here, in the Nexus. My wife and daughter fell victim to the demons. But I would be worthless in battle. At the very least, I hope to lend my assistance to you brave slayers of demons. I would be happy to lighten your load and look after any excess baggage.
We're going to go ahead and take this opportunity to deposit the ore we acquired before the large dragon creature punched us into oblivion.
Rest assured, your goods are safe and sound with me. Best of luck to you. When the scourge came, I abandoned my wife and daughter and fled like a madman. When I came to, I was in the Nexus. I haven't dared venture outside these walls since. I wish I could do more, but I am ignorant of the world beyond these walls. That candle maiden cared for me during my first days in the Nexus. She says very little, but has a kind heart. She's just the age my young daughter would have been. The poor, poor girl, trapped here with her eyes occluded by wax. If only something could be done to help her.
Unlike the games that preceded Demon Souls, you have a weight limit on your equipped items as well as your inventory, and ore can take up a ton of it if you don't keep it in check with Stockpile Thomas. He's an invaluable NPC.
How has this happened? Has God abandoned us for failing to show proper respect to King Alant? Oh, Mbasa.
Umbasa is probably one of the more memorable terms from this game in my own opinion. I've always thought of it as their equivalent to the word Amen, but it's not a one-to-one localization as they occasionally use it in ways where Amen wouldn't typically apply. And I actually really enjoy that about it. It's a very unique spin on a very conventional idea. Unfortunately, there are no NPCs waiting to be found on the next floor, and we have no reason to go any higher just yet, so it's time for us to head to our first Archstone. This is the Archstone of the Small King, which gives way to the Boletarian Palace, a huge stone castle in the heart of the northern kingdom of Boletaria. Hungry soldiers whose souls have been stolen by demons attack trespassers, and terrible dragons nest there. Sounds exciting. Let's go ahead and use it. As soon as we load in, we see a massive fortress awaiting us. Rightly so, we're going to turn right around and go in the other direction to pick up some very useful healing items, because going the opposite way that you're intended is a pastime of mine. This gate is closed off to us, though there are items behind it, and we won't be able to access it for quite some time. Sadly, that isn't because we reach it through an extremely surprising and ingenious shortcut later into the game, but because we have to do certain actions within the game to manipulate the Boletarian Palace's world tendency. I'll try to explain. World tendency is one of Demon Souls' most interesting mechanics, and inarguably its most poorly explained. Try to imagine a number line with 0 in the middle. To the left it goes down to -3, and to the right it goes up to +3. The negatives would be called black world tendency, and the positives would be called white world tendency. Each of the 5 archstones in the Nexus start out at 0. When you defeat a boss, it counts as a +1 for that world. When you die in body form, it counts as a -1. For example, we're currently in soul form, which is why our HP is halved. When we defeat the boss of this level, the world tendency will shift to +1 and give us our body back. If we were to immediately die right after, the world tendency would shift back to 0, effectively nullifying our defeat of the boss. I'm sorry if that was confusing. It's a very confusing thing to try and explain. Basically what I'm trying to get at is that the gate will only open up when the world tendency is at +3, which is also known as pure white world tendency, meaning that we won't have access to that area until after we defeat 3 bosses in the Boletarian Palace. It's important to take note of these side gates, and you'll see why very soon. I love how easy it is to goad these little dreglings into jumping off into the pit of souls here. Inside this dark building are a few enemies waiting to ambush you, but they're not very deadly. I think that they were placed there more as a bit of a warning to the player that they're never truly safe and should always expect the unexpected and be careful as they explore. Oh god, a fog gate. Here comes boss number 2. Or not. That's a relief. The Mail Breaker is a little dagger that's much weaker than our starting weapon, so we'll avoid using it. The completionist in me just can't leave any shinies on the ground. Interestingly, after you deliver a backstab to an enemy, they have no invincibility as they get back up, allowing you to get off a full combo if you wanted to, as an extra bonus off of your critical attack. These fire dreglings hit extremely hard, so I opt to run past them just a little bit so I can fight them alone without also having to worry about the soldier throwing fire bombs down from above. If you look down, you can see where we started the level. Demon Souls has a lot of moments like this, and it makes for a really satisfying sense of progression. This boulder has struck many a player, including me, but there's really no one to blame but yourself as long as you're looking ahead. The boulder grants access to the Bastard Sword, a large claymore-like weapon. It's another one that we won't be using, but I still wanted to nab it all the same. Once we get sweet, sweet revenge on our rock-rolling friend, our our attention is drawn backwards via an arrow. After working through the enemies there, we'll come across a rather scary sight. This is the Red Eye Knight. All he does when we're at this range is stare menacingly, breathe heavily, and show off his very large spear. Pretty much everyone who plays this game blindly at first has a memory with him, and mine is clear enough to tell me to run in the other direction to face off with a much more approachable Blue Eye Knight. Thank you for watching. In the next video, we'll decide if we want to go forward into that tower or through another fog door. See you then.